An epic and historical mistake committed by Russia that can cost Russia all their efforts and endeavors so far in space research, geopolitical power, and economic status. Experts say Russia should have never engaged in war with Ukraine. But is this true? Why is this war a wrong move by Russia? Well, in this video, we are going to discuss whether Russia is wrong for invading Ukraine. Was this war a mistaken and miscalculated move by Russia? Hello, folks. Welcome to the Ukraine war. We are here to deliver you all the new political movements regarding the Russia-Ukraine conflicts, the casualties, strategies, and aftermaths of the ongoing war in detail. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon if you don't want to miss any of those. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. Russian President Vladimir Putin has been in power for more than 2 decades, and throughout that time, he has carefully built an image of himself as a harsh, strongman leader who is dedicated to restoring Russia's status as a geopolitical and economic giant. Analysts think Putin committed the worst blunder of his political career when he invaded neighboring Ukraine, and that it has harmed Russia for years to come. Everything he's done so far has harmed Russia's reputation, but it's also given him more power, and he just kept going on and on, former U.S. Ambassador of NATO Kurt Volker told CNBC. But today, in every regard, he has drastically hurt Russia, he said, adding that he couldn't think of anything Putin has done in his political career that compares. An unusual NATO summit, as well as talks of EU leaders and the G7, is taking place in Europe on Thursday to address the crisis in Ukraine and how to assist the country to withstand Russia's attack. Although NATO has been hesitant to go farther, fearing a confrontation with nuclear power Russia, the military alliance is set to pledge to significant increases in force numbers along its eastern frontier, as well as more armaments and humanitarian support for Ukraine. President Putin has made a major mistake, and that is to initiate a war, to conduct a war against an independent sovereign nation, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg told CNBC very recently. Stoltenberg told CNBC's Hadley Gamble, Russian President Vladimir Putin has misjudged the power of the Ukrainian people, the bravery of the Ukrainian people and armed forces. NATO's plans to increase support for Ukraine and deploy troops in Eastern Europe will enable the alliance to respond to any danger, any risk to our security. In only 1 month, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has forced more than 3.5 million residents to evacuate the nation, with hundreds of thousands losing their homes as a result of Russian soldiers' unrelenting bombing. Mariupol, Ukraine's southernmost city, has been battered the worst so far, with the port, a crucial export hub, still under siege and substantially damaged. According to Ukraine's president, Vladimir Zelensky, over 100,000 citizens are still besieged in the city, which lacks water, food, energy, and medical supplies. Despite using near-constant bombardment and siege tactics in certain regions, Russian forces have only taken control of one city, Kherson, and the much-feared assault on Kyiv has yet to commence. In addition, Kharkiv, the country's second-largest city, continues to fend against Russian bombardment, while Lviv in western Ukraine is now largely undamaged. Despite Russian forces' attempts to encircle Ukrainian soldiers in the country's east, the United Kingdom's defense ministry claimed that Russian forces had achieved nothing. Both Moscow and Kyiv are realizing that this conflict will not be easy to win, and Putin has made Russia a pariah on the international scene in the meanwhile. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the U.S. administration believes Russia is guilty of war crimes in Ukraine and that it should be punished. Blinken compared the damage in Mariupol to previous Russian assaults in Grozny during the Second Chechen War and Aleppo during the Syrian Civil War, according to a statement. Russian troops have demolished apartment complexes, schools, hospitals, essential infrastructure, civilian cars, shopping malls, and ambulances, killing or injuring tens of thousands of innocent civilians, he claimed. Despite mounting evidence to the contrary, Russia has frequently said that it does not attack civilian facilities. CNBC has reached out to the Kremlin for a reaction to the U.S. charge that Russia has committed war crimes and has yet to get one. Russia's economy has thrived under Putin's leadership and has done so till now. Putin drew in a large amount of foreign direct investment and exploited the country's national resources, notably its wealth of oil and gas, while also attempting to diversify the economy. During his tenure, Russia has been hit by economic misfortunes, both of its markings, such as international sanctions following its 2014 annexation of Crimea from Ukraine, a nerve agent attack in the United Kingdom, and its meddling in the 2016 U.S. election, and those it had no control over, such as the 2008 financial crisis, 2014 oil price crash, and most recently, the COVID-19 pandemic. With the invasion of Ukraine, Russia's economic woes are once again ones that Putin has inflicted upon the country. The economy is already groaning under the weight of international sanctions, and when U.S. President Joe Biden meets with European and NATO leaders in Brussels, new penalties might be imposed, putting even more pressure on Russia's oil exporter. According to the Institute of International Finance, Russia's GDP would collapse by 15% in 2022 as a result of both official sanctions and the self-sanctioning of foreign enterprises that have left the country. The IIF predicted Wednesday that the conflict will wipe away 15 years of economic growth, predicting a 3% drop in 2023. Furthermore, the impact on medium and long-term prospects is expected to be substantially worse, with a brain drain and poor investment likely to be major factors. Putin is unfazed, despite making only modest success in his invasion thus yet. Russian soldiers are said to be undergoing restructuring before commencing large-scale assault operations in and around Kyiv. In an essay for the Atlantic Council on Tuesday, Taras Kuzio, a research fellow of the Henry Jackson Society, said that it is increasingly evident that Russian President Vladimir Putin has poorly misjudged. He appears to have accepted Kremlin propaganda fairy tales about the Ukrainian military's inferiority and ordinary Ukrainians' eagerness to greet his invading soldiers with cakes and flowers, Kuzio claiming Putin has consumed the Kremlin's Kool-Aid. Furthermore, according to Kuzio, Putin appears to have been unprepared for the severity of the international response as well as the magnitude of home resistance to his invasion. As a result of these disastrous miscalculations, Putin today has no viable alternatives for ending a war that threatens to hasten Russia's geopolitical collapse as a major power, he further added. Russia has few allies on the international scene, and the invasion has been widely denounced. Even Russia's partner China is concerned about the prospect of a protracted conflict in Ukraine and its consequences for the global economy. Around 141 nations signed a resolution requesting that Russia halt its military actions in Ukraine immediately when the United Nations General Assembly gathered in early March. Only a few nations, a rogues gallery of dictatorships, including Belarus, North Korea, Eritrea, and Syria, backed Russia's assault. Cuba, Nicaragua, and China, all supporters of Russia, voted no. So, all these boil down to one question. Is Russia doomed? Close observers of Putin believe Russia's military operation is showing symptoms of desperation, and they wonder how far Putin would go to achieve his goals. Russian goals are shrouded in mystery, Ian Lesser, vice president of the German Marshall Fund of the United States, told CNBC earlier this month. How far will they go, he said. What do they regard to be a win? There are a variety of options, ranging from a total takeover of Ukraine, which most analysts believe is impossible, to control over a few key political centers in Ukraine, such as Kyiv and potentially Odessa, or perhaps they have a wider geographical gambit in mind. According to him, Russia would be extremely susceptible to a prolonged insurgency in such a situation, which would entail ongoing humanitarian expenses. There are significant issues here, Lesser continued. Putin has seriously overextended himself, according to Michael Baranowski, senior fellow and head of the German Marshall Fund's Warsaw office, who spoke to CNBC recently. It's possible that Russia as we know it is coming to an end, he remarked. However, if he survives this, I believe we may be witnessing the beginnings of a new Cold War. I believe that this would push Russia far behind as a nation. All their prosperity will be gone. It would no longer be a notable power in the world, making the U.S. the sole powerful nation globally. But what do you think of this? Do you also think it was a mistake? Tell us in the comments. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Until then, peace.